Welcome to Patrick's Scale Studio. My name is Patrick. I'll be your host. So this is going to be video 1 for USS Langley CV-1 in 3/50th scale by Trumpeter. I believe it's one of their newer kits, and as you can see, I've already gotten pretty much the hull and the deck ready to go. I've got some parts already installed on there. And really this is just kind of was awaiting some panel line color here to kind of go around this and highlight this a little bit. Overall, the hull of the Langley in the photographs I've seen, and actually the one I used for the thumbnail for this video, the hull's pretty clean. It's not real rusty. It's not real super weathered or anything like that. And because all of the pictures are not in color, we get a little bit of artistic freedom here. Kind of also interpreting from the black and white photos some of the different colors here. And normally, I believe at the time, the decks or horizontal surfaces in the United States Navy were a darker gray, and any kind of vertical surfaces were super light gray. So that is the direction we went with here for the paint scheme on this. Also, notably, one thing I noticed in other models I've seen completed of this, like the one in Pensacola at the Naval Air Museum, they've got a model of this, and it looks like these this rear deck and this forward deck are in wood, kind of to match the flight deck. So that's why I've gone ahead and done that like that. And again, I'm just waiting for some panel liner to go in there and round things right there, and I was going to do that in brown. A lot of the stuff around the dark gray and black, and then a lot of the stuff on the side here in a dark gray panel liner with the portholes being in black. But there is still a lot more to go on these decks to get painted up and clear coated that are going to go in these decks, and I'd like to get all the panel lining done in just one session. Panel liner and then using the mineral spirits, room can get rather smelly, so I try to limit that to doing as much as I can in one session. But let me put this aside here and we'll talk about what we've got going on here aftermarket wise. I'm going to zoom in on this right here, and this was a Chinese 3D printing person or company, and the Langley had 4 5-inch 51 cal guns. There's 2 that went back here. Oh, can't even see my range. 2 that went right back there, and 2 that went right up here. And the kit represents these as that right there. And overall, it's not terrible, given that this is in the 1/350th scale. That is not terrible, but as modelers, we kind of strived for more detail. So I wanted to have a look at these, and no better time to do it than on camera, right? Gonna go ahead and cut out part of this cage. And the first thing I noticed even before cutting this cage out is this is the same 3D printing outfit that did the aftermarket guns I ordered for Lexington. So as you can see, the barrels are all warped. Alright, moving on here. Part of the other photo, or aftermarket I got, was the Made by Trumpeter photo etch set for this kit. So go looking through the instructions. And by the way, Nigel's Modeling Bench did an amazing review of both this kit and the aftermarket set that I purchased. In the end, he does recommend, I believe there's this couple sets, or maybe one set made by Edward. And this is the one I decided to go with since it's made by Trumpeter for a Trumpeter kit. And as you can see, a lot of the trusses and everything like that. Again, if we look at the picture here that I put as the thumbnail for this video. Alright, back to the instructions. You can see that all of those trusses were all see-through. Now the kit offers up trusses, but they are definitely not see-through. They're not... I'll take them out here to have a look. They're not bad for injection molded plastic, and they've got this truss detail on both sides and on the outside. They're not terrible, and you could paint those and then put a black wash on it and kind of give the illusion that they are not solid, that that it is individual little pieces of metal. But why do that when you can get photo etch to do the same job and it actually be hollow inside instead of solid plastic? And that is what this photo etch is for. So it looks like a lot, but a lot of these are bigger pieces, and they'll fold up into trusses shaped just like this. And again, the nice thing about this is it was made by Trumpeter for the Trumpeter kit. In that set, you also get all of the netting that goes around the edge of the flight deck. You get the cranes and everything like that. So you can see it. There's a lot of it, but I think once it all gets built up, it's really going to look the part. Now that does it for the kit and the photo etch. Let me put this stuff aside. So with the small parts and getting all that stuff ready, it's okay to take care of this, even though it's not going to go on until much later. Just for the simple fact is it's all painted the same color, so I'm just going to start knocking things out as they show up on the instructions here. So first off, we'll do what they say is assembly A, and it looks like it's 4 different parts of photo etch, and it's all on the same fret. Go ahead and hold this up. So there we've got the main body of it, we got the little wheels that go on either side of it, and then the little hook area, or whatever that's called, right there. So one thing to point out real quick here is the instructions say D27 and make 2. There is only one D27. There's a D28 which is identical, and nowhere else in the instructions is it used, so I'm going to assume that's what they meant. If you know the saying about assume, then we'll see how this works out for me. The instructions on this are going to be to fold these. I'm going to have a look here. Looks like the etch lines here, the folding etch lines, get that in place, are on top. So we're going to fold inward. I'm going to fold this side up, I'm going to fold that side up, and there is a teeny tiny little bar of brass right in there that will help give this a little bit of a dimensional thickness, but will also allow for one of these little wheels to go right there. And I might try both ways here, one attaching the wheels first and then bending, and then the other bending and then putting the wheels in. And we'll see how that goes. Skipping the bending tool, we're going to just go ahead and use this tiny little flat rule and the razor blade that came with my first bending tool. Now this is skinny enough, the blade has a bunch of gunk on it. This is skinny enough I should be able to put this here, like that, and then bend this over. I think it's skinny enough. Oh, look at that. Alright, well, that is it for bending this photo etch. Hopefully we can see that. Alright, and there is now just enough thickness to take one of these wheels on each side, and it goes, we're going to do instructions in there just like that. And then we take a little bit of CA glue and get them tacked in. After that, then we have these right here. And they go challenge here not to bend the two teeny tiny little bits right here that look like they're supposed to be cables. I'll go right there in the middle. Alright, two little 1/350th scale gantry cranes made up, glued up, and ready to go. The CA needs just a little bit of cleaning off, but go ahead and put these aside. I want that CA to continue cooking off here. So the next thing here is B, which is plastic part D29 and D40 photo etch wise. Now there is, I think I've already mentioned, a provision for doing that particular crane right here using photo etch. A good rule of thumb is photo etch is not necessarily always better than the plastic. So let's go ahead and have a look at the plastic here. Let me find that D29. There we go. There's D29. It's not bad. I like how it's got this raised detail around the edges. It also has a couple of these simulated bolts or hardware right there. Now let's have a look at the photo etch. Alright, so you also don't get the round peg where this would fit into the deck of the ship, and it looks like it'll be hollow on bottom, so this might not be a better option. You also don't have that little bit of a hardware detail up there, so we'll put this together here and compare notes next to the plastic part and see what we like better. Well, I decided to spare everybody here from the pain of removing this from the photo etch fret and then that very sticky plastic backing. Kind of right off the bat, I can see I'm already leaning in the direction of this, and I'll show it off again here. This is off the sprue and cleaned up. And it's really kind of nice in that it's got this raised edge around the entire part, along with a little bit of hardware detail right here. There's a little lip right here for the crane boom, and the cables come down off of it right there. It also has this pin right here, which is a very positive fit to the deck location. Help do the trick. Not perfectly bent to shape. I wouldn't say photo etch is anything I'm an expert at, but let's compare these side by side. And I think this is one part where Trumpeter did not need to replace the kit part with photo etch. So we'll go ahead and get the boom glued in there and have a look. Okay, so that is, as you can see in my hand, went with the kit part, or the parts that come in the kit and not the upgrade set from Trumpeter, instead of going with the photo etch option in the upgrade set. I definitely like the kit parts better. So that completes everything on page 5, step 1. So we got 2 of assembly A and 2 of assembly B taken care of. Go ahead and put these aside. So I've already gotten all of this installed except for the propellers. I'm not doing the propellers until after I get done with the weathering on the hull. So go ahead and start working on some of these ship's boats. So 4 of these and 2 of each of these. Go ahead and grab those parts. All right, well, for step 2, page 6 here, we got all of the parts for these ship's boats cut out and cleaned up. Didn't film any of it because it was mind-numbing. Well, it would have been mind-numbing for you, but for me, it's all kind of part of the business modeling and trying to make some of these parts look as good as we possibly can. And that is for Assembly E ship's boat. There's 2 of them. I won't even bore you with the second one there. All right, so for Assembly C ship's boat right there. Again, 2 parts here. You just kind of go together like that. Now the detail on this is really amazing here for a 1/350th scale ship's boat. We've got all the planking detail on this upper piece. And just like the other one that we just did, it's only 2 pieces here to make this happen. But check out the interior. It is almost a shame to cover that up. That is some just amazing 1/350th molding, and it's something I would actually expect to see on a 3D printed piece. But, right there, just goes together. Oh, stupid tweezers. That goes together just like that. And just a little bit of extra thin again. Let that extra thin go into the too much. I don't actually want to erase all that beautiful detail. Just a little bit more. And then for Assembly D, which we have to make 4 of. Alright, so we've got a really small plastic part alert here, which is this right here. I'm going to put both of these up in my hand. Alright. Make that out. Everything looks like it's focusing really well. And basically what we're doing on this one, let me get this, see if I can get this guy flat. So we're taking this one with these 2 tiny little, does that even focus? I don't know, my shaking might be making that hard to focus or hard for you to concentrate on. But there's 2 little, it almost looks like latches to either end of this little box, and those go front to back. I'm going to drop just a touch of extra thin. Alright, so we got this tiny little puddle of extra thin right there. And now I get our teeny tiny little part. Drop them on there. And bear with me here, I'm actually working off of the screen in helping getting this straightened out. I can't look at it with my own eyes because those eyes would be exactly where the lens of the camera is. There we go. Looks like it's straight. And that's that for Assembly D. I just got to do that 3 more times. So again, I won't bore you with that. And moving on. Alright, there we go. 8 pretty well detailed ship's boats for USS Langley. I'll put these aside here. Let's get this stuff here. We are on page 7, step 3, and a couple more little sub-assemblies here, along with 2 parts I still have to separate out from the sprues, which are these little reels right there. Everything else went on there. So going to go ahead and get the construction for this done real quick and easy. Well, actually, I already did that for the anchors here. So there's both of them. Really, all you do is take, I know that this is called a clevis. I'm not sure. This is mainly just probably the main anchor, and I'm not sure what this part is called, but that slips on up through the bottom of this anchor, and then you glue the little clevis on there, and that's it. You call it a day. I'm leaving this loose though because these will have to go on the ship, and there's going to need to be a little bit of wiggling around in order to get them to sit right. So I'm going to go ahead and put these aside. And that brings us up to this other bit here where we are installing two little shuttered windows and two searchlights. And this little assembly goes on the stern of the ship after it's complete later on. I'm going to get just a touch of this medium CA. Oh, so you can see. It'd be helpful if it's on camera, huh? Alright, waiting for a little bit of a focus. And I'm going to mainly just touch this on the inside of that. What that should allow is just enough to kind of find its way up on the ledge on which the little window frame and the shutters will sit on. I'm going to take that and put it in there like so. Just amazing detail here for 1/350th scale. See that? Isn't that cool? Alright, so same thing here, just a little bit of CA right here on just the very inside, just below where the frame's supposed to sit. And what that again allows is some of that CA just to kind of ooze its way onto that little ledge where this sits. Now I realize there are little stubs from the PE fret still on the shutters, but when this is fully painted up and it's put into place, you're not ever going to see that. And if you do, don't worry, you won't see it at a modeling contest that I'm going to be going for a gold medal on, because that's just not my style. There we go. Alright, so with that in mind now, we can go ahead and, oh, there they are. I'll move this CA out so I don't glue my hand. Alrighty, let's see if we can tell which way these go. Looks like they go this way. I'm not sure that there's much of a difference, and no, there's not. So, back in camera frame. With the holes there. And I can just use fingers at this point. Sinking it in. Same thing on this side. Oh, a little too much cement. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to have this turned toward me so I can check the alignment. I've got a little bit of lean to the right. No politics though. Okay, so there we go. Well, moving on to page 9 and step 5 here, and we see some of these assemblies here. Right here, I believe, again, this is called a windlass. And it is the assembly and the process and the assembly and mechanism that pulls in the anchors and the anchor chains here. Couple of pieces to it. This right here, which kind of looks like a guide. This right here, which looks like a roller. Right there. And then the support for the roller and a much bigger kind of set of wheels right there that actually wind in the anchor chains themselves here. And So these are pieces of photo etch, and they sit down on the deck in these two slots here and here. Now if I put those in there as is right now, it's not, the fit is fine, but it's a bit loose. So as you can see, you just kind of put it on right there, and it just falls over. Because the slots will definitely hold it, but again, just because it's loose right there. And it's photo etch. I want to get it primed and painted before I actually mount it on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calipers here, loosen this up a little bit. All right, zeroing these out. And I'm going to take these calipers and I'm going to quickly get an idea of the width of those slots on there. And we're looking at about 3.75. So I'm going to lock that in. Now it's locked in. And push this aside here so it's not in the way. What I determined is, if I can keep from dropping tools on me, what I determined is if I can cut slots on the sticky backside of these post-it notes, these pieces will stand up on their own in that slot. So for instance right there, I'll just kind of put that in there, and I think it's just the combination of the stickiness here, the adhesive, along with a slight bit of thickness of the paper that I have cut a slot through, and it's able to stand up on its own here. And actually it holds pretty well. I can even pick this up so I can show you exactly what we've got there. So I'm going to take my calipers and measure out where I need to cut the other slot, sink the other one into there, and then I'll be able to work off of this with a little bit of CA glue to get the other pieces glued into place so it comes off as one complete assembly, which I can then paint, prime, paint, maybe finish up with a little bit of rust and stuff like that from the anchor chains. Alright, so part of page 9, step 5 is 5-inch guns, the 5-inch 51 caliber guns. And as I had stated before on this, I got some 3D printed parts. They were done in China and shipped over here. And needless to say, the quality on all of them, you get 12 of them in a tiny little cage. The quality on all of them is abysmal. It's better than what Trumpeter provides in the kit. However, if Trumpeter had the right actual size and dimensions of the guns, I would probably still go with the Trumpeter. But these are 4 I weeded out right off the bat, and it's just because while trying to take some of the supports off incredibly carefully with magnifying the magnifier on so I can kind of really see what I was doing, you can see where the resin parts started breaking. So these are 4 that right off the bat are going to get tossed in the trash. And as you can see also, the person that printed these, or the company that printed these, just has not perfected anything here at 3D printing, because the barrels, just awful. So I'm going to have to take really, really hot water, and I'm going to have to submerge these in water, all of them, all of them that I'm going to keep, and I'm going to have to redo them. So these are the 8 right now remaining out of the set of 12 that look okay on the one side. The other side's usually pretty clean on most of these here, so at this point I'm going to try to narrow it down to the ones with the least warped barrels, so it will require the least amount of work here in order to get those barrels straightened up. And for the funnels, let me show you real quick here what those look like here. There are, as you can see, a multitude of funnels here. We've got 2 E6s, they're pretty large. I'm going to go back here. 4 E18s, G20 and G21. And for the most part, I'm going to leave these on the sprue for painting. Focus here. There we go. And one of the things I did here is in order to give these a little bit more of an air of authenticity, I've got this display. It's kind of like a little rotary tool. Charge up on a USB Type C charger. And you just kind of turn it on and you see it starts spinning. And it's got 3 speeds. And I just took this kind of like a little round nose or bull nose burr and just kind of touched it into these, the ends of the funnels real gently. And it kind of thinned out the walls a little bit and give them a little bit more depth. It doesn't have to be anything serious because we're going to put some black paint or wash in there, and that should help provide the depth on those funnels. But that's what we're looking at right now. And all the funnels are going to retain their little sprue attachment points through painting until we cut them off and then have to just touch them up right there as they are on the ship. Alright, so the last 2 pieces we're going to make here in this video is just going to be a real quick bending job here on these 2 ladders. They're both photo etch ladders, D44, so I'm going to go ahead and get those cut out and we'll walk through folding them here on camera. Alright, so that right there is, focus, just one of the 2 ladders. Trying to get it to turn over a little bit here so we can see it. It's got nice lightning holes on the rails. It looks good. It's scale, and Trumpeter's photo etch is always decently thick enough to withstand my ham-handed attempts in getting it bent. So I'm going to try to do this on camera, not down here, but I'll try to get it up there by the lens of the camera and get it in focus. So first thing I got to do though is work on getting this loaded up. Alright, so I've got a little photo etch bending tool, and it's good for small little things like this. Now you can see there's one step on this ladder that's overhanging. That's because it's not attached like the others to these rails. So I purposely made sure that it's overhanging here. And we're just going to bend this up to just about a right angle. Alright, that's done. I'm going to go ahead and put this down and get it positioned so I can do the other bend. Really tighten it down. And again, razor blade. Now this time we got to be careful that we don't get it underneath that step that's hanging out in the breeze. And we just bend that up to a right angle. You see? And at that point you can kind of use your fingers if you want to manipulate it enough. The important part is getting those initial bends done. Alright, so now that that is done, we can go ahead and I'm going to loosen this up a touch. Now I've got all these steps right there. I'll do my best not to drop this and get everything bent. And we can just from the back side just using some very pointy tweezers. the attachment points on each of these stairs is incredibly thin and delicate. So absolutely take care in getting them bent. Now, this one I did better than the first one. So go ahead and bend this down. Just this last little kind of free hanging stair there. Tread, I guess is what you would call it. And now that that's bent into place, we can go ahead and this one kind of turns in the opposite direction of the others. Get them lined up. Alright, let's see how we did. Go ahead and loosen this up. And there it is, in all of its tininess. Just for reference, a fingernail. So that wraps up everything we are going to cover in this episode. Let me take a step back and we'll have a look at everything. Well, I think we're going to wrap this video up right now. As I think I had mentioned earlier here, we got some cranes built up, overhead cranes built up, a couple ladders, windlass parts, a couple reels pulled off and cleaned up ladders, this tiny little deck house here that goes at the very stern. I think this is a pigeon house that I've read about. Got our ship's boats built up, and we've got a bunch of funnels here, and the funnels are all on their sprue stubs right now, just to facilitate painting. As far as these 5-inch guns, thanks for bearing with me while I slide that aside. I'm going to have to look for another solution here for these. As you can see, I heated water up to boiling, dipped them in. The barrels turned into pretty much noodles. Real easy to move and bend and everything like that, but as soon as we took these barrels and straightened them out and then put them under cold water, they went right back to some kind of bent position. Additionally, even when I let them cool down, air dry on their own, while I'm kind of holding the barrels in a straight orientation, same thing. They are absolutely atrocious. Also, one of the things that the hot water exposed was a lot of microfractures. So I'm going to have to take a careful look here at the 5-inch 25 caliber guns I also got from the same 3D printing outfit in China. All of their barrels are really badly warped as well. Other parts, and I just do not have any confidence. I feel like I just wasted a lot of money in order to get those done. So there's a couple other 3D printing options out there. They're a little pricey. I also found some STL files I can print on my own, and I might try to do that. My last recourse is just to purchase brass barrels and nip the barrels off of the kit parts and replace the barrels with those turned brass barrels. So I think I'm going to give the 3D printing a shot first here. That way, if I've got the STL files and I run across needing any of these down the road, then it's just easy enough to go ahead and maybe you can make that out better than on that paper. But then I'll be able to go back and print as many as I need from here on out. But I cannot get the barrels to look right on this no matter what I try. So at this point, I might just build a tiny little pile of them and light them all on fire. I think they bring me a lot more joy at this point. Now we got some of those small assemblies completed up through page 9. They just need to be painted, some of them primed first, and then get a little bit of detail painting and some weathering. And so for our next video for USS Langley CV-1, we're going to be working on the small bits of some of these railings here on page 10, step 6. And then we're going to start into the deck here a little bit here. And mainly that's going to be centered around building this stuff up right here. This stuff right here going on top of the deck will not be applicable yet because we have to apply a wooden deck first anyway. But we can get some of the bits like the ladders and everything like that built up. But as far as that deck is concerned, we're probably going to start here with getting some of these teeny tiny little photo etch bits put onto the bottom of this. Possibly even up through this right here, and then maybe getting into attaching a wood deck here on top of it. Photo etch screen, I don't know. We'll see where that takes us here. But yeah, I do hope to get a little bit more done. In the meantime, I'm going to try to print off some new 5-inch 51 caliber guns. I only need 4 of them. I did find a decent STL file online, so I'm going to give it a whirl here right now. That is the least expensive option for replacing the kit guns and that garbage right there. And I did leave some rather critical feedback on eBay concerning that print for this set and the 5-inch 25 caliber guns I also received from the same printing outfit. But until the next video for this comes out, stay safe and happy modeling.